Do you want to successfully complete the WGU D216 Objective Assessment for Business Law for Accountants course? Then, when you're in the right place, our website provides a list of questions and answers with an emphasis on preparing for your success into the Business Law for Accountants D216 course. In this video, we will cover questions from constitutional law and rights, legal procedures and concepts, business ethics and responsibilities, intellectual property law, privacy and electronic law. So, let's get started. 1. What does the 14th Amendment, passed in 1868, primarily ensure? A. The right to bear arms. B. The prohibition of excessive fines. C. No state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. D. The right to freedom of speech. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The 14th Amendment ensures that no state can deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, a significant post-Civil War addition to the U.S. Constitution. 2. What action is taken when a case is filed for monetary damages? A. Action at law. B. Action in equity. C. Action of rescission. D. Action of injunction. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Explanation. An action at law involves filing a complaint for monetary damages or property. 3. What is the primary purpose of an administrative agency? A. To create statutes. B. To enforce legal decisions. C. To perform specific government functions. D. To manage legislative processes. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Administrative agencies are created by federal or state governments to perform specific functions like rulemaking or enforcement in specialized areas such as the environment. 4. Who is the appellant in a legal case? A. The party being sued. B. The judge in the appeal court. C. The party who takes the appeal. D. The defendant in the lower court. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The appellant is the party that takes an appeal from one court to another. 5. What does the Bill of Rights represent? A. The first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. B. A set of civil liberties granted by Congress. C. Rights of states to establish laws. D. A declaration of state sovereignty. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. A explanation. The Bill of Rights consists of the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, ensuring fundamental rights such as freedom of speech and religion. 6. What is considered a binding authority in a court case? A. Any law that is optional for a judge to follow. B. The opinion of the jury. C. A precedent or source of law that the court must follow. D. A case law from a different jurisdiction. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Binding authority refers to a legal source, such as a previous court decision, that must be followed when deciding a case. 7. What is the definition of breaches in a legal context? A. A legal enforcement of property rights. B. An act of violating a law or legal obligation. C. A lawful exercise of judicial rights. D. An agreement to terminate a contract. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Breaches refer to violating a law or legal obligation owed to another person or society. 8. Which philosophy focuses on right and wrong behavior in business contexts? A. Corporate social responsibility. B. Business ethics. C. Outcome-based ethics. D. Duty-based ethics. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Business ethics involves applying moral principles to business situations and determining what constitutes right or wrong behavior. 9. What does case law interpret? A. Only federal statutes. B. Regulations, statutes, and constitutional provisions. C. The opinions of lower courts. D. Civil procedures and regulations. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Case law refers to the rules of law announced in court decisions and interprets statutes, regulations, constitutional provisions, and other case law. 10. What is the categorical imperative as per Immanuel Kant's philosophy? A. Evaluating actions based on societal outcomes. B. Evaluating actions by imagining what would happen if everyone acted similarly. C. A belief that all actions have ethical consequences. D. The process of applying fairness in judgment. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Kant's categorical imperative evaluates the morality of an action by imagining the consequences if everyone in the same situation acted the same way. 11. Which branch of law deals with private and public rights? A. Civil law. B. Criminal law. C. Case law. D. Constitutional law. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Explanation. Civil law deals with the enforcement of private or public rights as opposed to criminal matters. 12. What does the Commerce Clause in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution grant Congress the power to do? A. Enact all types of laws. B. Regulate interstate commerce. C. Create a national banking system. D. Oversee foreign policy. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The Commerce Clause grants Congress the authority to regulate commerce between states. 13. What does common law refer to? A. Laws passed by the legislature. B. Laws that originated from royal courts in England. C. Administrative regulations. D. U.S. constitutional amendments. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Common law refers to a body of general rules that applied throughout the entire English realm. 14. When does a compelling government interest test apply? A. In criminal law cases. B. In commercial law disputes. C. When fundamental rights are being restricted. D. In administrative law decisions. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. A compelling government interest is required when laws restrict fundamental rights like free speech. 15. What is a concurring opinion? A. The majority opinion in a court. B. An opinion by judges who disagree without the majority. C. An opinion that agrees without the majority, but emphasizes a different point. D. An opinion delivered by the lower court. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. A concurring opinion is written by judges who agree with the majority but want to emphasize a separate point not made in the majority opinion. 16. What does constitutional law derive from? A. State and federal statutes. B. Administrative agency regulations. C. The U.S. Constitution and state constitutions. D. Corporate legal documents. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Constitutional law is based on the U.S. Constitution and state constitutions, guiding the laws within the country. 17. What is corporate social responsibility? CSR. A. A legal obligation to increase profits. B. Acting ethically and being accountable to society. C. A focus on maximizing shareholder wealth. D. Government-mandated business policies. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. CSR refers to the idea that corporations should act ethically and be accountable for their actions in contributing to society. 18. What is cost-benefit analysis in decision-making? A. Weighing the social impact against business outcomes. B. Balancing financial implications with ethical concerns. C. Weighing the costs against the benefits of a given action. D. Considering the legal ramifications of each action. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Cost-benefit analysis involves comparing the costs and benefits of a decision to determine the best course of action. 19. What are courts of equity primarily concerned with? A. Monetary damages. B. Legal judgments. C. Fairness in remedies such as injunctions. D. Criminal matters. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Courts of equity deal with remedies based on fairness, such as injunctions and specific performance, rather than monetary damages. 20. Which branch of law defines and punishes wrongful actions committed against the public? A. Civil law. B. Constitutional law. C. Criminal law. D. Administrative law. Can you guess the answer? Correct. Answer. C. Explanation. Criminal law defines and punishes wrongful actions committed against the public. 21. What is cyber law? A. Laws governing social media. B. Laws specific to electronic communications and transactions. C. The rules governing online gaming. D. A branch of corporate law. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cyber law refers to laws that govern electronic communications and transactions, especially those conducted via the Internet. 22. What is a defendant? A. A person bringing a lawsuit. B. A person or party being sued in court. C. The judge in a court case. D. A legal advisor in a trial. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. A defendant is the party against whom a lawsuit is brought, or the accused in a criminal proceeding. 23. What is the purpose of a dissenting opinion? A. To explain the reasoning of the lower court. B. To outline the views of the majority of judges. C. To present the views of judges who disagree with the majority. D. Can you guess the answer? To correct legal errors in previous cases. Correct answer. C. Explanation. A dissenting opinion is written by one or more judges who disagree with the majority decision in a case. 24. What is the due process clause? A. A clause ensuring fair legal representation. B. A provision preventing the establishment of religion. C. A guarantee that no one will be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. D. A clause giving Congress legislative authority. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The Due Process Clause, found in both the 5th and 14th Amendments, guarantees that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. 25. What is duty-based ethics rooted in? A. The idea of maximizing societal benefit. B. A belief in individual rights over collective needs. C. The notion that individuals have moral obligations to others. D. Consequentialist theories of morality. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Duty-based ethics is rooted in the belief that every person has certain duties to others, which can derive from religious principles or philosophical reasoning. 26. What does the 8th Amendment prohibit? A. Self-incrimination. B. Cruel and unusual punishment. C. The right to petition. D. The seizure of property. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The 8th Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment as well as excessive bail and fines. 27. What is the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, 1986? A. A law prohibiting public access to private Internet communications. B. A law protecting against government surveillance. C. A law prohibiting the interception of information communicated electronically. D. A law establishing privacy regulations for businesses. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act prohibits the interception of information communicated by electronic means. 28. What does the Equal Protection Clause guarantee? A. Equal pay for equal work. B. The right to free speech. C. That no state will deny any person equal protection under the law. D. The ability to sue government officials. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The Equal Protection Clause ensures that no state will deny any person equal protection of the laws. 29. What are equitable maxims? A. Legal regulations defining court procedures. B. General principles of fairness used in legal decision-making. C. Economic laws governing trade. D. Legislative rules regulating corporate conduct. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Equitable maxims are general principles or propositions that focus on fairness and guide courts in making equitable decisions. 30. What does the Establishment Clause in the First Amendment prohibit? A. The free exercise of religion. B. The establishment of a state-sponsored religion. C. The use of religious texts in schools. D. The implementation of religious taxes. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer B. Explanation. The Establishment Clause prohibits Congress from establishing a state-sponsored religion or promoting any particular religion. Struggling with your WGU exams? We've all been there. Welcome to OAExams.com, your ultimate resource for WGU success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 active WGU students and an impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit OAExams.com today and take the first step toward guaranteed success. 31. What is ethical reasoning? A. A decision-making process involving a jury's perspective. B. A process linking moral convictions to a particular situation. C. A business technique for cost management. D. A method for determining legal outcomes in civil trials. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Ethical reasoning is the process of linking an individual's ethical standards or moral convictions to the specific situation at hand. 32. What is the role of executive agencies in the U.S. government? A. To regulate the judiciary. B. To administer environmental policies. C. To enforce laws within the executive branch. D. To supervise congressional procedures. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. Executive agencies operate within the executive branch and enforce laws in various areas, such as health and safety. 33. What does the federal form of government entail? A. A system where the president holds absolute power. B. The division of power between the states and the federal government. C. Power centralized only in the legislative branch. D. A loose confederation of independent states. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The federal form of government divides power between a central government and the member states, ensuring a balance of authority. 34. What does the Fifth Amendment guarantee? A. The right to a fair trial. B. The right to bear arms. C. The right to indictment by a grand jury and protection against self-incrimination. D. The right to privacy. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The Fifth Amendment ensures the right to indictment by a grand jury, protection against self-incrimination, and prohibits double jeopardy. 35. What is prohibited by the Financial Services Modernization Act, 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝘀 Act? A. Interbank loan practices. B. Public disclosure of consumer financial data. C. The disclosure of non-public personal information without consent. D. The sale of securities by financial institutions. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝘀 Act prohibits the disclosure of non-public personal information to unaffiliated third parties without meeting strict disclosure and opt-out requirements. 36. What freedoms are guaranteed by the First Amendment? A. Freedom of privacy and self-incrimination. B. Freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. C. Freedom of association and equal protection. D. Freedom of travel and due process. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of religion, speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. 37. What are the key factors in a four-part analysis for business decisions? A. Legal implications, financial impact, ethical responsibilities, employee welfare. B. Legal implications, public relations, safety risks, financial impact. C. Legal consequences, ethical considerations, environmental impact, consumer rights. D. Legal aspects, tax considerations, financial risks, employee rights. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. A business should evaluate legal implications, public relations impact, safety risks for consumers and employees, and financial consequences when making decisions. 38. What does the Fourth Amendment protect against? A. Self-incrimination. B. Unreasonable searches and seizures. C. Involuntary servitude. D. Double jeopardy. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures of their persons or property. 39. What does the Free Exercise Clause guarantee? A. The right to freedom of speech. B. The right to practice any religion. C. The right to assemble peacefully. D. The right to vote freely. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The Free Exercise Clause prohibits Congress from passing laws that prevent individuals from practicing their religion freely. 40. What rights does the Freedom of Information Act, 1966 grant? A. Access to personal financial records. B. The right to obtain information about oneself collected by the government. The right to information about private companies. D. The right to privacy in all personal matters. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. The Freedom of Information Act grants individuals the right to access personal information collected about them by government agencies. 41. What is HIPAA primarily concerned with? A. Protecting consumer financial data. B. Regulating healthcare industry standards. C. Ensuring patient privacy for medical information. D. Regulating pharmaceutical sales. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. HIPAA protects the privacy of individuals' medical information and limits its use for non-healthcare related purposes. 42. What does duty-based ethics emphasize? A. The consequences of one's actions. B. Individual duties to others and the planet. C. Legal obligations within a business setting. D. Economic outcomes over ethical considerations. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Duty-based ethics emphasizes the moral obligations each person has toward others, which may be based on religious or philosophical reasoning. 43. What is outcome-based ethics primarily focused on? A. The impact of decisions on stakeholders and society. B. Following established duties regardless of consequences. C. Ensuring compliance with government regulations. D. Maintaining adherence to moral principles. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Explanation. Outcome-based ethics evaluates decisions based on their impacts on key stakeholders and society, striving for the greatest good for the greatest number of people. 44. What is intellectual property? A. Physical assets owned by a business. B. Any creative work that can be copyrighted or trademarked. C. A corporate asset used to increase production. A law regulating industrial property. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. Intellectual property refers to products of the mind, such as inventions, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. 45. What is a trademark? A. A written copyright on a piece of art. B. A company's distinctive mark, symbol, or slogan. C. A government document guaranteeing intellectual property rights. D. A legal claim to a patent. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Explanation. A trademark is a distinctive mark, motto, or symbol used to identify a brand, such as the Nike swoosh. 46. What is a fanciful trademark? A. A word with no meaning outside of the trademark. B. A trademark derived from an existing word. C. A trademark that suggests a product's use. D. A trademark used to describe a product's features. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Explanation. A fanciful trademark is a word or symbol with no meaning outside of the trademark itself, like Google or Kodak. 47. What is the purpose of the Federal Trademark Dilution Act, 1995? A. To register all trademarks with the U.S. government. B. To prevent confusion in similar product categories. C. To protect famous trademarks from unauthorized uses, regardless of competition. D. To enforce fair trade practices. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. The Federal Trademark Dilution Act was enacted to protect famous trademarks from unauthorized uses that may dilute their distinctiveness, even if no direct competition exists. 48. What does the Lanham Act of 1946 focus on? A. Protecting manufacturers from trademark dilution. B. Protecting authors from copyright infringement. C. Establishing intellectual property registration. D. Regulating advertising content. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Explanation. The Lanham Act protects manufacturers from losing business due to confusingly similar trademarks used by competitors. 49. What does trademark infringement require the owner to prove? A. Unauthorized use of a trademark. B. That the defendant copied the trademark in entirety. C. That the defendant's use created a likelihood of confusion about the origin of the products. D. That the defendant registered the same trademark. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. To prove trademark infringement, the owner must show that the defendant's use of the mark created a likelihood of confusion about the origin of the products. 50. How long does a patent grant exclusive rights to an invention? A. 10 years. B. 15 years. C. 20 years. D. 25 years. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Explanation. A patent grants the inventor exclusive rights to make, use, and sell the invention for 20 years from the date of filing. You've reached the end of our first question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at OAExams.com, where you'll find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.